Hello and welcome to the Green Machine Live, your home for Irish football news and nostalgia, where you, the fans, can have your say. Lots to discuss on the Tonight Show, as we bring you the latest updates from another weekend of fun and action from across the water. You're very welcome. You're live on YouTube, you're live on Facebook, and as always, have your say. Get involved, leave a comment, tell us how great we are. Unless you're Irish blog, then you remain silent. Martin, you don't have to remain silent, sadly. With no Nick tonight, so I suppose I have to talk to you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. As the most knowledgeable member of the Green Machine podcast team, just want to thank everyone for the fantastic feedback I've had recently. And I hope everyone's well and enjoying a weekend of domestic football, basically.
Incidents.
Incidentless. But I'm all good, thanks.
A peek inside a Prendergast house. No, sorry. Speaking of positive feedback, how is your mum?
Yeah, she's all right, Dave. She said she's been quite impressed with your behaviour so far on the podcast over the last few weeks.
Well, considering I have to put up with you and Nick most weeks, I'm actually impressed by my own behaviour. But anyway, are you ready to get into it?
I am.
Right, let's get into some of the latest news. Cheesy jazz music. There you are. Latest news for audio listeners. So literally, Martin, breaking news, quite frankly, literally breaking news in the last hour. And it appears that Chris Hughton has now taken over as the manager of Ghana. There he is, Lansdowne Road. Breaking all the latest news there. Didn't see that on the Green Machine page, just saying. But yes, Chris Hughton has taken charge of the Black Stars. That is their actual nickname, so please don't come after me with the PC Brigade. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's a nice move, Chris, isn't it? He was involved with them during the World Cup, and he's a bit of a legend of Irish football. Former president, I think he was, of the Republic of Ireland Soccer Supporters Club in London. So he's a good lad. We arranged a testimonial for him many, many years ago in the Gouty Moor. Some listeners might be familiar with that fine establishment in northwest London. So I'm really happy for him. He's a good lad. Been involved in Irish football as well. I know there's been many people calling for him to be back involved at times. We've been a bit sceptical on that. You know, the style of football probably isn't what we want to see, but I think there was definitely a place for him at one stage to be involved in Ireland. And I know he was with Brian Kerr, but I think the kind of day has passed now, perhaps as an advisory in some role.
Let's get to some of the comments there actually on I see Irish Blog is watching. So if you want to see what a quality Facebook page is about Mr. Irish Blog, stay tuned. So lots of comments there on the page. Ken Gorry managed and coached at the highest level, not even interviewed once for the Ireland job. Best of luck, Chris. Hope all goes great from Tom Jennings. There's a few others here. There's a lot of stuff here a lot of people actually wanting him for the Ireland job here. And wouldn't you know, I can't find any comments. But trust me, there are. Yeah, Noddy Cox should be Ireland manager. James Fox should be the Irish manager. Same again. And then Kieran O'Duffin says he should be the next Ireland manager. Repeated the last 10 years. Give up, lads. Christopher doesn't want it. He knows the FAI too much. There are a load. Unfortunately, the old Facebook app doesn't seem to give you the all the comments, and so stuff does go through. But I did see it there. There's a massive call for him. I personally think you're right, Martin. Love Chris Hughton. You know, first trailblazer, first black player to play for Ireland. Made his debut in 1979. Lovely guy, but no, I don't think he should be considered for the Ireland job. And you know, the style of football, we've covered it on the podcast. We've covered episodes about his exploits as a club manager, and the football was absolutely dire. And I don't think we need to go back to that. But I say that with all the respect, all due respect towards Chris Hughton there. But best of luck to him with the Ghanaian football team. He did go to the World Cup. He was technical director, was he? A director of football? Yeah, and he went there, but I think they went out in the first round, so they put him in there anyway. So no, fantastic stuff. So best of luck there. Also, another bit of news. Tomorrow on RT1, 9:35, we have a Liam Brady documentary. There he is. Looking forward to this one. I will get I'll somehow have a watch of it. And he is he the president? You're the chairman, but he's the president of Risk London.
That's correct. Yeah. He's our honorary president. He's a good lad, Liam. He's been at club events for us over the years. Very forthright in his opinions and views, as we know, as a pundit. But fantastic lad. And this documentary has been getting a lot of praise by some of the media who've already had the pleasure of viewing it. It's called Irishman Abroad. It covers his time in Italy, obviously. Some really good clips have been leaked already or previewed deliberately as part of the promotion, meeting up with Tardelli. And it's amazing, really, to think of. I kind of think history is a bit unkind to Liam Brady in a sense. He should, the falling out with Jack and not playing at some of the major tournaments with us, I think it doesn't really reflect on what an amazing footballer he was. And the fact that he was a bit of a trailblazer as well, going over to Italy, really highly respected over there by all of the players who he played with. And it was interesting seeing a good comment the other day. We had Paul McGrath's debut recently, the anniversary of that, and that game in Daily Mail, where Italy came, wasn't it? And apparently Liam Brady was applauded onto the pitch that night by all of the Italian team, basically, because they all knew him and respected him from his time there. He still speaks Italian, obviously involved with the Trapattoni era. I think even when we look back and reflect on the Trapattoni era of him being involved there, I think he was quite forthright in his opinions in the change room, and it didn't go down very well with some of the senior pros there. But brilliant for us, a player, fantastic. You see the ability he had. He wasn't called Chippy for nothing. Fantastic player.
Yeah, no, he really was. And also, you got a bit of news for the Chris dinner very quickly.
Yeah, on the Saturday night before the France game, there is the Confederation of Irish Soccer Supporters Clubs are having their 10-year anniversary of their establishment, basically. And that's being held in the Crown Plaza, I think, in Dublin. The details will be on their social media pages and things like that. But it is only open to attendance from members of supporters clubs. So that could be the London Club, Dublin, Tullamore, Derry, lots of branches out there. Do look at the different supporters groups under the kind of Chris umbrella. But then they've got some fantastic guests lined up. We've been at previous dinners with them there. They've got a lot of people invited, big names coming along. So it should be a fantastic night.
Yeah.
So, do get involved.
No. Absolutely. I'll be there. Martin will be there. Nick will be there. We're members of the London Supporters Club. You don't have to live in London to join a London Supporters Club. So, give it a shout and you get invited to events like this. And they're really good, actually. The last one I met, Alan McLaughlin, may rest in peace. Johnny Giles, Mick McCarthy, made a surprise appearance. So they do get some really good guests there. So definitely give that a bell if you can. Martin, we're going to move it on to the boys in green. We've got a few comments. I know we leave the comments right to a certain part of the show, but this fella again, Jesus Christ. He can't help himself. He's obsessed with me. Irish football blog. He's obsessed with me, Martin. Here we are. By the way, keep your comments coming in. We will get to those. Get those questions in. Oh, this fella. Drinking game for all the viewers and listeners. Every time Dave mentions his lanyard, take a shot.
Very true, that.
Hold on. For our audio listeners, this is Dave taking his headset off, and he's going to put on his collection of media passes. Hold on a second. Just wait.
I'll kill the time here. It is quite a collection, to be fair. So, Dave's very proud of these. And as you know, listeners, he looks like Mr. T, basically, when he has these on.
Here, Bill, there's one for you, pal. I'll put that to the side for you, since you don't have one yet. There we go.
Quite a collection, Dave.
That is quite the collection, isn't it? I just hope there's no lightning outside, so I'll probably get absolutely torn into shreds. Anyway, but see those comments coming there, guys. Keep them coming, unless your name is Bill and you work for Irish Football Blog, then you can bugger off. Right, here we are. The boys in green. Lovely graphic there, that beautiful picture. Right, so we've known Nick. So I better do it, I suppose. God, what would you do without me, Martin? Eh?
I know.
What would you do without me?
I'm looking forward to this, Dave. Let's see. I'm looking forward to the pronunciations of the players' names, to be fair.
They look manageable. Right, here we are. Let's do it. Mark Sykes, yet again, got his 4th goal for Bristol City of 2023. And of the season, really. But he got a goal against Norwich for Bristol City. He's doing well. We're going to have a little chat about him. And I see a question in the comments. Callum Robinson, an assist for Cardiff. P. Middlesbrough. Don't see Callum O'Dowda there, Martin.
I'm not sure. I think he did play Callum O'Dowda, but I think he might have. When I looked at the team on Sky Sports app, he seems to be playing left back, but I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked back at the game yet to see any reviews. Did he play there? But
kind of sums up the impact he plays when you don't really know if he's on the pitch or not. James McLean got an assist for Wigan against Huddersfield, doing very well there, actually. He's coming up to his 34th birthday in April, and he's still doing ever so well. Michael Obafemi debut for Burnley against Preston North End. They battered Preston. Of course, that is a local derby. Did you see that on Twitter, actually? Alan Brown, and it's a shame Nick isn't on, actually. But
it's not a shame Nick's not on. It's not a shame Nick's not on with that.
Well, have a look at this, right? So George Hodgson went on Twitter and he quotes Brown as, "It's horrible. We got dominated from minute 1 to 90. They were set up better than us tactically. Hashtag Preston North End Football Club." So Alan Brown's come back and he says, "Well, in future, I'll just say the usual robot stuff. This was an honest acknowledgement that they were clear of us in every department, as they are of the whole division. It wasn't a dig. Yesterday was disheartening, but we'll stick together, so please get behind us, all like ye always do." I mean, yeah, but you're basically saying that your manager can't set up a team properly. That is having a dig, whatever way you slice it, isn't it? Because
it is, yeah. But then again, does he have the right to do so? Is there more going on behind the scenes there with Preston? Because he is the captain, leader of the team, you would say. He is forthright in his opinions. I think it's an interesting one, that. But, I think one key thing to recognise with Burnley is that they are miles above anyone in that division. I think they're really good football inside. And it's I don't want to bring it off topic, but it's no coincidence how well they're doing. They've got Josh Cullen in there, who was over in Anderlecht. It just shows, again, the power of a move that you can, if you're brave enough to move internationally, abroad, as he did, went to Anderlecht, trusted by Company. Company went into the Premier League. You can move with a manager who's going to be successful and up and coming, and I think Company will be. And I think that's why they're doing so well. It's on the grounding board. Yeah. That. But I think he shouldn't be too harsh on themselves, because they're going to be far behind a team of Burnley, I think.
But to say they were set up better than us tactically, that's I think that's a poor choice of words, if he meant something by it or not. Because if you're turning around and you're saying they were set up better than us, that shows that you're saying your manager could have done a better job. If you're saying they're just head and shoulders above the rest, which they are, but it looks like they are running away with the championship at the moment, that's one thing. But to say they're set up better tactically, that's
a slight on the manager. Yeah, it is.
Totally. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a shame, isn't it? The 1 week he has to absolutely put the boot into Alan Brown, and he's not on.
I think you did well there for him anyway.
I did, Nick. I channeled the hatred and the spite of our good old Nick. Getting back to our boys in green, to League One. Dave McGoldrick, 2 assists and a James Cullen goal for Derby against Wickham. Speaking of running away. Finn Azaz got a goal for Plymouth against Portsmouth. And Killian Phillips got a goal for Shrewsbury Town against Port Vale. Just down the end there, Matt Doherty still awaiting his Atletico debut. He was on the bench tonight against Celta Vigo. That was away. To be fair, he's probably not fully match fit. Although, how do you get match fit if you're sitting on the bench? And Stefan Savic was sent off in the 70th minute. And Memphis Depay got an 89th minute winner. So maybe we're being a bit... we're being a bit too...
what was interesting on that is that, I know he moved from Spurs, and it was all the speculation that Porro, I think his name, was coming in as the right back there. He got ripped apart yesterday on his debut, I think, for them, because I've seen Tim Sherwood... fantastic pundit that he is. I'm sure he's not listening. But he was just saying he was absolutely abysmal. So early days, and there's been a lot of players who've obviously made debuts over the years who've gone on to have good careers in the Premier League. But getting ripped apart, it must be a bit disheartening for Doherty to see he had to make way for him.
And actually, when he played at Spurs, when he got to run the team, he was excellent. And then he got injured last season. But it's very, very unfortunate. Team of the week in the Football League, and nice to see James McLean and young McNally are in the team of the week there. So that's promising. He's doing ever so well, James McLean. He is. Say what you want, of his antics off the pitch. In terms of social media and all that kind of stuff. Not as he's an uber professional. Like, he's so fit. He is fantastic. Speaking of just over to the women's game at the. Well, this was an interesting one. So there was a move touted about Katie McCabe, the Arsenal captain, legend, great player. She's Ireland's captain as well. And essentially, she was linked with a move to Chelsea across to the other side of London, and it didn't go through. And she's found herself on the bench over the last couple of games. Here is Emma Byrne, also another former Arsenal player, right?
Yeah, former Arsenal legend.
Yeah.
Basically, great, fantastic goalkeeper. Brilliant for us as well, Emma Byrne, over the years.
Yeah.
And basically what she said there, I'll read it if you don't mind. City
You
looking
go
very
for it.
good. Arsenal's title hopes looking grim. Katie McCabe is not a bench player, and for me, it makes no sense. Yeah, this is a weird one. I went to see, as you know, I went out to Bournemouth recently, saw Arsenal ladies take on Aston Villa, Rucha's team, Katie's partner. Interesting, good game, to see. Katie was in good form then. She actually came off in that game. Wasn't much of a challenge as a match, but I think they actually played Leeds then a week after, and I think they won 9-0. So the disparity between the levels of the women's game is quite strange. You've got some really, really good teams, and then you've got some absolutely dross, to be honest. And there's a massive big gulf between them. But yeah, the speculation that Katie was going to move, very, very popular with Arsenal fans. It didn't go down well at all. And then there was speculation, is she going to move or not? And then she wasn't playing in the team. So it's a bit strange. I know that I have to forgive the pronunciation. I think it is a Siobhan. It's Siobhan Hearn, who is Rucha's sister. She's a journalist, does a media blogging for the women's game a lot. She actually was on Off the Ball last week and said, the speculation about Katie moving, why is she not in the team? She actually had a chest infection, and that was confirmed as well by Vera Powell recently, I've seen. So the women's game is getting bigger, whether we like it or not, because I know some people can't,
Neil Jewson.
Can't find the attraction with it at all. I'm getting more and more interested in it. This is a World Cup year. We've got to jump on the bandwagon, let's be honest, and really promote the game. It's going to benefit everyone in Ireland. But I think with the move, it is getting bigger. The Women's Premier League is getting bigger. These moves, I know even the girl Russo at Man United was touted as an Arsenal move, possibly. And it was going to be a record-breaking bid. And when the money's actually leaked, basically, you're talking about £400,000 move. So, that's not massive money, but it is going to get bigger and bigger in the women's game. Sponsorship and money and interest comes into it. So Katie McCabe, what would she be going for? I was trying to think, is it, and we have to remember how far they've taken. I mean, we're quoting Emma Byrne there, who years ago, Emma Byrne was fighting for her international colleagues' right to kind of be treated like the men. We're getting tracksuits from the FAI and stuff. That debacle that was going on. Look how much the game has progressed. But so the game is getting bigger, whether we like it or not. And they are now professionals. They're putting in the professional hours as well. Katie McCabe is the star of Irish football women's team, without doubt. Anyway, the progress is there for all to see. The Lionesses have done fantastically well in England. These transfers are going to be there, but also the payday for the girls is coming as well. And I think that's right. They are committed. They are professional. And Katie has to look after herself, basically, as well. She has to think, where is the club who's going to be competing for the Champions League? That's the highest level she wants to play at. Possibly is Chelsea, although Arsenal are competing there as well. So she needs to be thinking, what's my opportunity to win those trophies and also look after herself contractually? And she's 25, I think. Not massive years ahead of her, but she's got to be looking after herself now. She wants to be a big name star, as she undoubtedly is for us in the game going forward.
Absolutely. And we'll see how that one unfolds. Another player who actually was on the bench, and our most expensive player, or one of our most expensive players, Mr. Nathan Collins. So last 2 games, he has sat on the bench. He has basically done nothing. They won yesterday. They held on against Southampton, who have lost their manager as well. So I don't know how that's going to look for Gavin Bazunu. 10-man Wolverhampton Wanderers. So, I mean, this is kind of worrying, really, isn't it? He's only 21. He's played 15 games in the Premier League this season, but he has been dropped to the bench for the last 2 games. And, of course, he did serve a 3-game suspension as well for a straight red for almost killing a player on the pitch. Should we be worried? I mean, and of course, the guy who replaced him scored last week as well.
I wouldn't be unduly worried from an Irish perspective. You know, he's going to be one of the first names on the team sheet for us. It's just going to be a bit of rustiness, to be honest. But, you know, he's training every day, week in, week out with them. It's just not in the team at the moment. It's very much similar to the Harry Maguire situation. Okay, not to that extent, but, you know, undoubtedly a quality player. He's just lost his place at the moment. He will come back into contention. He'll have to be ready then, and it can soon happen. I don't think it's anything catastrophic that we've got to think, oh, he needs to get out now at the end of the summer and move on because it's the manager doesn't rate him at all. That's far from the case, I think.
No, fair enough. And another player, just to wrap up the Boys of Green segment, Mark Sykes, 4 goals this year. He has to be in the squad now, doesn't he? That's coming up for the games in March.
You would think so. I mean, and this is why I would be a fan of Stephen Kenny naming a kind of extended squad, you know, 28, 30 players, basically, because I think he should call them over and have a look at them. And the timing of the squad, it works out quite well. You could have players in there early on in the window, basically, and have them as part of the squad, and then perhaps cut it down even after the Latvia game. You know, we've got him. He should be used to managing that as well with the COVID when the free game campaigns. Then, you know, he had lots of changes through COVID and the close contacts that he was cutting players and bringing them in. So I don't see the problem of him naming a 28, 30 man squad. All right, maybe not go to the extent of Martin O'Neill used to name 40.
But should he be in? Like, I mean, with his form at the moment, surely he should be in, not just an extended squad, man, but actually in the squad, as if in you were going to play or you're going to play some sort of role in these 2 games.
Yeah, I know he's been in the standby list, and I know Stephen Kenny's, you know, name dropped him a lot as well. I don't know. I just think we've got other options there, haven't we, as well? But I think he'd be very, very unlucky in the form he's in if he doesn't get in, basically. So, but is he really going to play? It's a difficult question, that one.
Yes, it is.
But what more can he do? You know,
we shall see. When's that squad? Do we know when the squad's announced yet?
That'll be announced. Well, we're almost a month away from the game, aren't we? So probably, about mid-March, I suppose.
Mid-March. I'm looking forward to that anyway. I can't wait for those 2 games, actually. And I mean, that wraps up this week's Our Boys in Green. I hope it did you proud, Nick. I'm sure he did. I'm sure whatever hole whatever pile of blankets or whatever he's watches from. Sorry, you are unintentionally. Let's move it on to some comments on our social media watch. Right, some interesting stuff actually here today. You weren't in Manchester today, were you?
No, I wasn't. No.
Or no, not Manchester. Leeds. You were in Leeds. You weren't in Leeds. Okay. Well, one man was Ian Hart, and he's there you go. Ian Hart, official. Good luck to UFC today against the Scum.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, he's right, isn't he, to be fair, Martin? He's not wrong.
I mean, no, it's not. But I mean, I was actually talking to someone about this rivalry a while ago, and it's an interesting history between Leeds and Man United, obviously. But I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of that, to be honest. And that's not just Man United speaking as a fan there, because I think I don't know. I just didn't really.
Oh, you didn't feel it to hurt.
Oh no, I just think it's irrelevant of a post. Really, it's like, oh, love me because I've called our used to be rivals. They're not rivals anymore, are they? So,
Leeds fans, if you're listening, you heard it here first. Send all your hate tweets at Prendy M. It's just down there. Send them away, please. It's another one I found gone through Twitter. It happened in Wales, and it was basically about a bit of. It's actually happened quite a lot over in Ireland as well, but kids' pitches being destroyed and all this, which I absolutely hate, by the way. But here we are. A fellow called Jonathan, or at JohnnyCass09, has shared some photographs of some tire tracks. Obviously, a bit of joyriding going on. You are upset to hear our junior pitches in, I don't know where that is, CWM, Coombe? I don't know. Was targeted by bikes and quads yesterday. Thousands of pounds worth of damage, hundreds of children likely to miss out. Sad emoji face. And he's tagged in DFA of Wales at Cymru.
Yep.
So what, like the country? He's just tagged it. I don't know. Wales Online, BBC Wales, and Noel Mooney. And of course, Noel has come to the rescue. We think he has responded as he does, unlike certain other certain other CEOs you never see on Twitter. And he's responded to it. Oh, dear God, can we help? It's not hard, is it?
No, well, we like Noel. He's one of the good guys, as we know. Yeah, and sadly, this is an indictment of the feral youth of today. Let's go on a rant on that, Dave. It does. It does happen, doesn't it? And as a grassroots coach, it's so frustrating as you turn up on a Saturday or Sunday morning, and you're, look, you don't like even picking up the dog shit off the public parks, so kids can play safely. But when you have that kind of damage going on, it's criminal damage basically. You see, that's the reason why we can't really have nice things in society in a sense, because people don't respect it and look after it. So
no, we can't. If you go out and joyride, see you next Tuesday. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about.
Oh, you do that if you want, but don't fucking cause impact on everyone else's lives. Think of kids and stuff who are impacted from it. Yeah,
exactly. Taking that away from them. Also, another one. I actually, this is the most underrated tweet ever. By the way, George Hamilton, another friend of ours. We love George, lovely fella. I don't know where he was actually, but it's got sheep in it. He could have been Wales. He's commented, ever feel like you're being watched? He's got a picture of a load of sheep staring at him. The message was clear. It's time we headed for the funk house. You're in for lyric, well, whatever. Anyway, he starts going on about Lyric FM. That looks like a proper night out for you there, Martin. And then the response to this on Twitter, and I thought was brilliant.
It was clever, yeah.
Where John Atkinson responds, "Danger here." I actually not only liked his tweet, I actually did turn around and say that is the most underrated tweet ever. I thought it was funny.
Very, very clever.
And then we go from the funny and the witty to the obsessed and poisonous and just petty, really. And can't really hear them too much. And as I said to them last week, I need to see them. I need my telescope to see them because they're so far down below me. But this is Irish blog again. So the Three Amigos podcast, they have got their, so they have one of these. Well, they're going to have one of these. Do you hear that, Irish blog? They're going to have one of these. And here they are. Three Amigos podcast. It's a cheap plug for them there. They have got their League of Ireland media accreditation for 2023. So they're going to get to all the games. Fair play. So they're big Cork City lads. Yeah. And I said, well done, lads. Because I'm a nice guy. Not according to Irish blog, I'm not. Stop pretending to be a nice person, Dave. I think, don't you start. But it's like, I didn't even mention them. Like, I had nothing to do with them. Obsessed. And of course, I responded. That's quite witty, actually. Jealous because you don't have a lanyard and a little quiet emoji. This has to stop, man. These guys
has to stop. I think. I don't know now. It's a bit. I don't know. I love you, Dave, but it's getting a bit. It is getting a bit obsessive now, and I think the only way we can resolve this. I mean, all the speculation about Serrano 2 with Katie Taylor and where it was going to be held and everything. I do feel like I'm kind of going to do an Eddie Hearn on this, and I think we need to call out and arrange this. A face-off, basically. I think we need a kind of not a charity boxing match or anything like that, or drinking games or things like that. But I think we need to get them on the podcast with us, have a chat with them, sort out your differences, Dave. So I think we should have them on with us, Dave.
Them on my show.
Our show. My show. Yeah. No, I think it's time to be done, Dave. I think it's open up the hand of friendship. Reconciliation in the name of Irish football. I don't
want to touch him.
Mick McCarthy, Roy Keane, they could shake hands that time. We've got to move on and we've got to be friends. And
but how but he's from Cork. Like, we won't be able to understand him. We'll have to have an interpreter. Like, I won't be able to understand a word he's saying.
Yeah, well, I think it's got to be done, Dave. I think that we should open up the doors of friendship and welcome in.
Let's make Lansing Road great again. What do you mean again? What do you mean again?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm open to him being on my show if he apologizes. If he's coming on here to apologize, then definitely he can come on my show. Absolutely. I suppose the exposure will do him well, I guess, to an actual audience out there on a decent Facebook page, such as Lads of the Road, but only if he apologises and he continues to be nice to me.
I think as well, we have to just make it clear, Conor McGregor, we're not calling on him to kind of put any funding down. We don't need security for this extra stewarding brought in. I know you could probably get back up there, Dave, if you needed. But yeah, I think we might need I think we need Nick on perhaps as a kind of mediator. But
maybe doesn't disappear again.
Yeah, like when he gets over the fact that Alan Brown, Alan Brown scores this week, it could go wrong for Nick. But I think you should be the bigger person, Dave. And
I should be the biggest. Listen, I'll tell you what. I will allow Bill on this show, on my show, if he apologizes. So I'll tell you what. Come on the show next week, Bill. If I know you're watching, you're always watching, especially when I'm involved. I don't blame you. You do have eyes. What can I say? But I will allow you on my show next week to apologize to me for being horrible to me. It's not my fault Dublin has a tram. So get over that. It's just typical Corkonianism, really, isn't it? It's just so bitter. Like Dublin people can't have nice things. It's just it's so bad. But okay, I will accept Bill's apology next week.
Right. So that's done.
Go. That's done. That's David done. Right. Let's get to now we got that little bit out of the way. We'll get on to the comments. Liam O'Cleary. Thoughts about Joe Hodge being blocked from going on loan by Wolves? Yeah, that's an interesting one, actually. It's reported a couple of days ago by Aidan Fitzmaurice. So the Wolves boss, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that second name, but he did say that he has blocked him because he feels that he will actually play a part this season. Now, he did let Conor Rowan go to the US, but I'll just read out a comment and we'll just answer that very quickly, Martin. He stayed here because he's young. He's working very well. I think it would be a good thing for him to have this experience with us. So why not? He will be ready to help us. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. This is football. We want 2 players for each position. So that speaks volumes for him, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear. I mean, we want our players playing regularly, and if he's been promised that. Now, I know a lot of managers under pressure sometimes will promise everything for their playing staff and promise them, game time and stuff, which is what he wants. But, he's very, very young, great reputation. I think we do need him to be playing, but, lots of time on his side as well. And if he's playing at a good level and he's even training day in, day out with players, I know I've mentioned that already today on the podcast about the importance of that, like Nathan Collins. You're not going to go, rusty and I know game sharpness. You'll be playing reserves levels. So I think he'll get plenty of game time. And he's going to be trusted. If there's injuries and stuff, he's main part of that squad. Yeah. He will be given an opportunity.
No, it's great to see. And hopefully we get him. We tie him up for the Ireland. We don't want any of this Declan Rice stuff again. Michael Yule on our Facebook page. Sláinte all. Sláinte to you, Michael. Hope you're well wherever you are. I'm a good man. Kieran Boyle, how are you doing, Kieran, over in sunny Florida? I'd have Chris Hughton in straight away. Matter of bollocks, this passing shite. We can't win a game or qualify for anything. What's the point in looking good if we're on the outside looking in all the time? Lump it up the Jesus and pitch. Well, I love you, Kieran, but I have to disagree with you there because I think if we do set the team up the way it should be played, technical football, I think it will actually, and we had the discipline to stick with that. With a plan, and I know Stephen Kenny has deviated from the plan because he's under pressure from the FAI. That is my belief. I don't know if it's for definite. We saw that in November, but I do think if we have the discipline to stick to that plan, we will actually qualify for many tournaments. That is my belief, and that's why I think we should pass it up the Jason pitch. Right, Paul Culleton on YouTube. How you doing, Paul? Surely Mark Sykes should get a start against Latvia in March on a brilliant run of form and made his debut against Malta in November. Paul, I cannot disagree with anything there. Yet again, we just mentioned, we've mentioned many times why Stephen Kenny, well, it's probably because he's under pressure, why he deviated from the plan of going bold and brave with young players. But yeah, I don't know.
He's got to be, he has got to be in there and on the form. Yeah. What more can he do? I mean, he must have been told in the last window, go back now, play for your club, get going with your club, and you'll be brought back in. And that's the proof of the pudding, basically. He's done that.
Right there. He has to start. Has to start against Latvia. See how he gets on. Give him a go. Give him a spin against France. Paul Gukian. Collins needs to move to a better team this summer. I hope so. Although, probably needs to move from the bench onto the pitch. I mean, look, he's got bags of potential. Probably not this summer, Paul. Maybe in about two 2-3 summers when he's a bit older, and then make him move. What do you reckon there, Martin?
Yeah, I think he's going to be moving to a better team without doubt. But in a couple of years, he's got to look. Let's be honest, he's got to cement himself in that team Wolves level basically, and be an absolute star for them. So the big boys are coming knocking for him. I mean, we've said it as well, a little bit similar to John Egan, very loyal club man though. John Egan, one of their best players, Sheffield United, but captain. Very difficult for him to leave. Bit of a different scenario to Collins because he's on his trajectory upwards. And I think he's only going to get better. And Kenny loves that player coming out from the back. He's mentioned that. John Egan and Collins, they both do that.
Fight for the style. Limo Cleary again. I noticed some of the countries whose domestic leagues are off in the winter play friendlies in January made up of players from the domestic leagues. Do you think Ireland would ever do that? It would be a good way to put some of the young talent in the League of Ireland in the shop window.
I'm not a League of Ireland expert. We've had a chat about this before, but I think one of the things that happens in the League of Ireland is contractually they're not on long contracts, these players, basically. So the clubs have a big challenge of tying them up for renewing their contract, basically. So to put them in the shop window, they basically are within the League of Ireland season. So it started now. They're in the shop window now, and I think it's a case that any team can come in and take them. And we have had a lot of movement even before the seasons. Just you think about the League of Ireland season's just started now. Well, we had a big exodus recently in the last month or so before the end of the transfer window, end of January. Lots of Irish players moved from the League of Ireland. Even underage players came in to English squads. So the kind of window, you don't need to put them in the shop window because I think these English clubs have looked at them and seen them and they're able to move then anyway. Now the season starts, they're contracted again for another year with their League of Ireland club. So I can't see that happening really, because they don't get an awful lot of time off. The season finishes and they go straight into the new one. And that's just because they've got the challenges of competing for attendances with Six Nations on now. Hurling GAA is all back on. So, that's another thing they have to consider.
There you go. Paul Culleton, again, on the YouTube channel. And on the Latvia game, hopefully Kenny has learned from his mistakes against Malta and will give lots of new players game time like Danny McNamara, Jimmy Dunn, Mark McGuinness, Joe Hodge. You would hope so, Paul, but I wouldn't count on it. And Paul continues, great show, lads. And congratulations to Chris Hughton on getting the Ghana job. And absolutely, Chris Hughton, great guy, lovely fella, trailblazer for Ireland. We wish him nothing but the best. Just not for the Ireland job. Kieran Boyle, again, lads, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Go on, the sliders and hot dogs and pizzas and beers. Anyways, who you got, Chiefs or Eagles? I have my book that I'm going to read, Kieran, because I won't be watching the Super Bowl. And you two are going to announce a residency in Las Vegas. What happened to my beauty? Don't get me started on you two. Did you see they released they're releasing Songs of Surrender in March. So they've reworked 40 songs. So Bono had the book Surrender, right? And it's each chapter is like 40 chapters named after 42 songs. The book is terrible. But it is rubbish. I love U2, or did. And, Bono's a lovely guy. Met him a couple of times, all that. But the book was so bad. And anyway, each song that was named as a chapter, they've reworked. And it's dreadful. They reworked You With or Without You. And I love that song. But anyway, that's enough. It's so bad. It's so bad. And now this is the icing on the cake, isn't it? The residency in Las Vegas. Jesus Christ.
I know. I do want to answer Kieran Boyle's question that I'm going to be with the Chiefs in the NFL. I don't have a clue about it, but why I'm going to support the Chiefs is
change there.
No, why I'm going to do that is because I think their coach is Andy Reid, and lots of people get confused and tag in Andy Reid about the NFL, and it's quite funny seeing him respond and saying, "I'm not the coach." So that's all. I know that's very, very non-plus, really, but that's why that tickles me.
Broad strokes. Hey, Wheelo 123 on our YouTube channel. I'll be interested to see if Kenny leaves Duffy out of the team. Personally, I think he is a major threat from set pieces, and at times during the World Cup qualifying campaign was our only hope of scoring. Yeah, I think it's fair to say there, though, Wheelo, is that if he's playing regularly, I mean, he signed with Fulham. Now, maybe that was a bit of a, for Fulham. He signed with Fulham permanently, even though he hasn't played a lot of games for them. Actually, he did very well in the FA Cup. Yeah. I think a fully fit, mentally and physically fit Shane Duffy is an asset to Ireland. whether he's on the bench or he comes off or whatever. And yeah, he is a proper threat for set pieces, but he has to be right. Otherwise, as a threat, he's also a threat for us against us as well, because he can be a liability trying to pass it out from the back. So all the best to Shane Duffy, but if he's not playing regularly, then he's going to struggle to get in over some of the other lads. Well, that wraps it up for the questions and the comments this week. Looking forward to Irish Football Blog's apology next week. And gratitude, actually, for allowing them on a quality podcast. My podcast. But anyway.
Yeah, we'll have to put a kind of disclaimer on it just to let our regular listeners know if the...
So we understand what Bill's saying?
Well, also, the level drops down, and it's not... The reason why is obviously we've let them in. You know,
yeah.
So
100%. See, it's not just me, Bill.
Don't drag me. Actually, yeah.
Well, you just have. You just. Anyway, right. We're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, and for those comments, and we really do appreciate your feedback. Right, we're going to wrap it up with This Week Back in the Day. And there we are. This Week Back in the Day again. And on this week's Back in the Day, the podcast which drops on Wednesday, 8 a.m. This week Back in the Day, we are going back to this.
Well, there's trouble in the crowd. That's the West Stand in the Lansdowne Road Stadium, down by the Wanderers' pavilion rather. The referee has stopped the game because, well, he's actually telling them to hold on, or is he telling them to play on? There are guards on the pitch. There is trouble in the crowd.
I think the important thing there, George, is that the trouble is coming from the English section, which has been cordoned off. There aren't any Irish supporters in there, and I think it's very important for people to realise that.
So this week Back in the Day will be when England fans rioted. Hope that is a word, actually. So yeah, it happened on the 13th of February. Was it the 3rd? Well, no, 15th of February, 1995. I can't wait to talk about this. And it's actually really good because we have perspective from an England fan as well, Martin.
I knew you were going to go there. So
of course.
Anyway, I've got some breaking news on that as well. I'm going to be joining the Irish Football Blog if you carry on with that kind of shite.
There you go.
Team Irish Football Blog.
Yeah, a win-win situation for us there. Martin and I will be discussing that. I mean, so much to discuss. Cannot wait for it. I remember as a kid, Sky had the rights to, because you couldn't. I used to enjoy watching England matches because I knew all the players. To be fair, and when Ireland wasn't playing, of course, and you couldn't get to see England games around that time, Sky had the rights. All of a sudden, you're watching England play against Ireland at home. Hadn't seen it for about 5 years at home. And I was so looking forward to this. And then that happened. I take it you watched it in Sky, Martin, did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Yeah, I remember it. I distinctly remember it. So it's going to be a fascinating chat on that one.
Because just 3 lines.
I think I might have had a half and half scarf on or shirt. I don't know. I'm joking.
I actually did have a half and half scarf at Wembley in 2013, actually. Nah. And I showed that picture and I got lambasted for it. It's like, I
can't do
that. No, I was in a crowd with my sister at the time, so he was English. But anyway, but that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about This Week Back in the Day, which is a relatively new series. It drops this Wednesday, YouTube, and our podcast, on Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts from, and on the greenscreenpodcast.com. That's a new series. Episode 1, which you can catch on there, is when Jack got the Ireland job. We got some lovely snippets in there and really exciting stuff. So do give that a listen if you haven't already. Martin, it's that time again. It's flown. We've had so much fun. No Nick, that's why.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Interesting one.
It has, hasn't it? And I'm going to plug it all again. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to if you're doing something right now, right? Hopefully watching this, just pause it. Well, I let it play out because we're nearly finished, and go onto our YouTube channel and give us a follow, please, or subscribe, whatever it is the kids are doing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got loads of stuff coming your way this year. Also, wherever you get your podcasts, give us a follow there as well. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, which is all in our bio. Thank you again for supporting the podcast, because if it wasn't for you or me, mostly me, we wouldn't have a podcast. So thank you again, Martin. Thank you for joining us this week. Nick will be back. I'm sure, well, we might not have Bill, actually. He might not fancy coming up against a heavyweight, an intellectual heavyweight such as myself, even if he is on to apologise to me. But hopefully we'll have his grovelling Corkonian self next week. That's all we have time for, guys. Thank you very much. Look after yourself. Good night and God bless.